Let's hear more about the coolness of DHL and their story from Jonathan. Jonathan, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, let's kick off with a quick overview who we are. So as I said, DHL Express, we are one of the 6 business divisions of Deutsche Post DHL. Ourselves, we have 100,000 or 110,000 employees, literally in every single country in the world. And with this, we are serving more than 200 countries and territories, total more than 2.7 million customers. And we are particularly proud of our dedicated aircraft. So the footage you see here on top, that's Leipzig, our largest entity, where every night between 50 to 60 planes take off. So it's a very, vibrant, very international company with also all the respective challenges around it. And let's move to the next slide. As Jason mentioned, employee engagement is actually an important one when it comes, to keep a motivated workforce. And what we do as a company is running for more than 10 years an annual employee opinion survey. Actually, we just kicked it off again this week. And what you see on the slide is basically the graph of the engagement score, which is pivotal inside this survey. And we have seen a significant growth over the last 10 years, of those engagement scores. We're now last year reached a new record high, 91% success rate. And that's quite an important one. Also, I think this is an interesting from a background perspective. We reached last year a 93% response rate. It means almost 90,000 employees from all over the world actually shared their feedback, and we still managed to get such a high, score. So that kind of internal feedback of, hey, we're doing something right. Where is this all coming from? And this is basically what I want to tell you in the next couple of slides. So let's move on here. How did we achieve it? Well, I'm always saying, we have also very challenging jobs. So, imagine a time where it's around Christmas, you fly somewhere and you take a look outside and you see somebody de-icing the plane. And then, you look further down and somebody's actually putting your luggage also into the belly of the plane. And our guys, they do it on a daily basis, be it extremely hot, be it extremely cold, but they're out there, to deliver the shipments and also with this, the promise to our customers. And it's a very tough job. So we have to do a lot to, engage them. And I want to tell you now how we achieved this over the last couple of years. So let's move on. We essentially started by mapping out our employee journey, and on that, defining different touch points throughout an employee's journey, starting from the first interactions around recruitment to the point of onboarding, where you receive this package that you see here delivered by one of our own couriers to your home, welcoming you with a signed card by your team, and all the way to development, recognition, and bespoke engagement programs. With this, and all with this touch point, always with the key paradigm of offering the best day every day across this organization. And I got one example. Let's go to the next slide, where this is really showcasing our culture. So what you see here is one of our annual football cups, or it's actually a sports event, football, cheerleading, and ultimately also partying. This one is from Belgium, where we bring employees from all our European entities. That consists in almost of 10% of the total European population. And we're not only doing this in Europe, but in all the continents we are present. And that's a massive event everywhere, where we almost engage up to 10% of our total workforce on such events, which of course are quite, a big engagement factor. So another photo on the next slide, really showcasing, the spirit of it and, the immense size. And I think that really led to the point that we did not only receive internal, let's say, recognition, but we see on the next slide is particularly also external. And I can quite proudly say that last year we have been awarded by World's Best Workplaces as the second best workplace in the world, There should be a new ranking also coming out the next couple of weeks, but this is really, where we also achieved the external recognition that made us really proud on our journey from good to great. So I could stop here now, and then we wouldn't talk about employee experience platforms, but of course the world is moving on, and with them also, of course, new challenges coming in, and we, seek to, as a company, to always address those challenges. And let me, showcase on the next slide a bit the one, very obvious challenge. What you see here is an aerial footage of Cincinnati. It's also one of our major hubs. But frankly, I could have taken Leipzig, Brussels, Hong Kong, any of those major hubs where we have big entities. And what you see here in close density to our own facilities, our major competitors with Amazon, FedEx, but you can also, the UPS of the world. We are all, at those major logistics hub. And obviously with this, there is a big competition around workforce. And, throughout, I think, lockdown, Corona crisis, there haven't been a lot of, industries that, successfully continue to grow. But, the express deliveries industry, I can tell you, we did. And with this also, of course, the need for workforce. Essentially, what we had to ask ourselves, and that's on the next slide, is basically, whether this journey that I just, presented to you with all those very physical touch point is really the one that is also, supports us going ahead in a more challenging world when it comes to, the hunt for workforce. And we basically said, okay, let's ask our employees, right? I mean, it's the easiest way to do, what do they want? And I have here on the next slide just a quote from one of the couriers in South Africa, where he basically said, and that was even before Corona, they come in the morning into the warehouse, they pick up their shipments, jump into their van, and off they go. And most of the times they don't come in for lunch. They're basically just, coming back, finishing the shift. If they need to, file in or hand in their vacation, that's one thing, but basically there's no other interaction with us and then the company, vice versa for them. So they're most of the time alone by themselves. And this courier basically said, I want, while I'm on my shift, I'm also having my break actually in my van, connect with my colleagues and also with the company. So we went back and looked at our overall journey and basically said, okay, what is really the missing link? What is it that is, not fitting the demands of our employees, and what is also potentially put us in an uncomfortable situation when it comes to competition? And that is where we basically said there needs to be something digital. And on the next slide, you basically see what we've done. So we developed Smart Connect, which is our digital employee engagement platform that is aiming to enable, connect, and engage our whole workforce, on both app, so mobile and desktop. And I think the very interesting part is that we designed everything around the option that this app is secure, but also can be powered and run from a private mobile device. Now, what you see on the right-hand side are really our three key pillars: connect, engage, and enable. The connectiveness, as being such an international company, is super important. We are a network company. That means when we hand over your shipment, with your good in from one country to another, we need to ensure that it's been treated, equally in the right way, so that we have this connectiveness across border is super important. This is what this platform is doing. Engagement, everything about motivation, right? So Jason was mentioning at the beginning, engagement is absolutely crucial to have a motivated workforce. And lastly, and maybe that's the interesting part for all the HR folks here on the call, this whole exercise and this whole project was kicked off by HR and is still owned by HR, not by IT. We actually only partner up with them, not by communications, also only a partner. It's led by HR. And the key part here is that we really seek to offer HR services to employees in a digital manner. So this is really an absolutely pivotal part of the employee experience that we want to provide to our employees. With this, let's take a quick look at the functionalities on the next slide that we're currently providing. So again, keeping in mind those three pillars, connect, enable, and you see here basically that those elements are also reflected. So everything around connectiveness, around communications, you have different feeds around it. The engagement part is focusing on social content. That's equally something that you can choose. So it's a lot around personalization. On the right hand side, you see a lot of elements that are focusing on the enablement part with providing different services. And this is quite important for us, and also a big milestone that now, be it an operational guy or a white collar employee, just can go to your phone and actually check out, career path options, talk to your or message your boss if you want, and be an active part of a global community. So this is the current status, and from a service perspective, and with this, handing over now to John to talk a bit more about our technical journey and all the magic that is basically happening in the backend.
Brilliant, thanks, Jonathan. So at a high level, we've been working with DHL now for the last 3 years on employee engagement with the Oracle Content Management Platform as the core foundation for delivering personalized content through to the Smart Connect app. And we've been focusing on content management and experience since '99 with portals, mobile apps, and digital assistants. We were also recognized as one of the premium Oracle partners for building dynamic and engaging experiences on top of their platforms that offer content personalization, integration with communication tools, and social capabilities, and more. We've been focused for the last 10 years on content experience, delivering portals and apps to companies like Medtronic, Rolls-Royce, DHL, and more, as you can see here over the last 10 years. So today I'll be demoing our employee accelerator and talking about what features both DHL and Fishbowl have found to be key for building a dynamic global employee engagement application, from personalization of content within feeds to social engagement and self-service, giving your employees a voice and turning them into influencers and advocates. I presented at Open World in a number of events, but what I really see is an evolution from portals across to employee engagement. Here you can see on the left is Atlas, and this is part of one of Oracle's offering, which is Web Center Portal back in 2012. And we built a mobile app with a bunch of services and offerings. And since then, we've evolved that to our Atlas employee engagement platform, which I'm going to show you today. And it helps users do their complete their day-to-day tasks quickly and effectively under a single branded user interface. So when I say that, I mean we're able to now connect to multiple systems, whether they're cloud services or on-prem applications, and bring that content and functionality dynamically under a branded, very performant application that's providing personalization, not only on the content that's being delivered to that user, but also the services and the tools that we make available, limiting functionality that may be provided by SaaS applications to more condensed microbytes that they can easily do to do their day-to-day job. Before we jump into the demo, I just want to cover a few items that we believe are key when developing the accelerator for employee engagement. First, we want to get the app out there and into the hands of all the users from around the world, from field service workers to employees behind the desk. And to do that, we've made a progressive web app that could be installed by accessing a website or deployed and installed from any mobile app stores. Now, we've used a mobile-first strategy when designing the experience and enabled the app to be both responsive and also expose device-capable functionalities to the end user. So things like biometrics, camera support if you're on a mobile, to single sign-on when you're on desktop. Now, another key factor is the size of the app. It has to be light and it has to be fast for users around the globe who may have low bandwidth, and also optimized to work offline. So we knew that the speed of the app would be key to keeping our users engaged, allowing us to push content out and send notifications that would drive them back to the app to get information and ongoings of the company quickly. This leads, and Jonathan's going to cover this late after the demo, but this leads to one of the examples that he'll discuss on Iceland and how the app is actually being used with different use cases today. And then finally, content delivery. We have to make sure that the content delivered to our users was personalized and tailored to them to keep them engaged, and that service offerings within the apps were services that they use on a regular basis. Now, although content is powerful, and there are other features which we've implemented to keep our users engaged and continuously returning back to the app. So those are social, which allows us to provide the ability to like and comment on content, the ability to follow users, both company influencers and other content channels, and also the ability for employees to post social content of events and company ongoings, giving the users a voice within the company and also providing an approach to creating more influencers within their organization. Now, communication was also another key tool, providing an integrated communication platform similar to WhatsApp that would allow users to find other employees and connect with them through the app, as well as having the ability to have group conversations, access digital assistants that could quickly retrieve relevant information from third-party systems like HR or HCM. How much lead do I have? Let's jump into a demo, and I'm going to show you some of the rich features that we've built using the Oracle Content and Management Platform. Now, to save time, instead of logging out, logging in, and swapping personas, I'm going to log in as an admin user. And as we go through it, describe the capabilities and how we've tied in key engaging areas. So let me share now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a live demo of our branded portal that we've used at Fishbowl Solutions. So this is the login screen, and I haven't logged in yet, but as part of this, we get access to public information that may be provided to other users. So if you're creating things like an advocacy portal and you want other users to potentially become advocates on your system, they can access the content and see the feed within here. So as you can see, I'm currently an anonymous user, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in. And we've created multiple ways to connect. So if you're an advocate of the platform, not an employee, you could connect with Facebook or with Twitter. Alternatively, as an employee, I'm going to connect with Azure, which is my identity provider. And here I've just got two-factor authentication, so just give me a second to prove. Okay, so once the user's logged in, they're returned back to the feed, and there's three segments at the top here. We've got the dashboard, we've got the feed, and we've got resources. Now, as part of this feed, you'll see across the top here, we've got our influencers or groups of content that are being created by our editorial team. And what the users can do is they can go into this create group area, and they can create their own wrapper and then start posting content in. So you can see here, for example, on this grouping, there's 4 pieces of new content, which I haven't accessed before, that are listed there. And then if we scroll down the page, and remember, I'm an admin here, so I'm seeing all of the admin features. So this includes lifecycle, so I can publish, review, unpublish assets on the fly. Now, an employee wouldn't see this. This is just purely for editors. And the content that I'm exposing here is all being surfaced up through Oracle Content and Experience. But this content is being personalized to my user. And that personalization information is actually coming out of Oracle HCM. So we're getting things from Oracle HCM on the user so that we know how to drive targeted content to them based on their location, based on their department, pay grade, and other things. So all this content is OCM, and we're providing different widgets or different layouts to expose that content, from galleries to videos to podcasts, to keep our users engaged on the platform. So if I move across to dashboard, now dashboard's pretty cool and interesting, and we're currently evolving our platform today. And what you can see on the dashboard are a set of widgets that provide mashups or snippets of information into third-party systems, whether that's Taleo or other mentoring applications, Microsoft tools like Yammer. And what we're doing with these components is we're actually building those as platform agnostic. So if you have this app installed on your mobile device, you can actually take these widgets and actually put them directly on your home screen. So you don't need to open up or launch the app. You have this information directly available to you on your whatever your mobile app is, whether it's iOS or Android. And we're also working on exposing these as actual widgets on your desktop. So you don't need to log into a portal. You could see, for example, your mentoring information or Yammer information and directly access that on the fly. And then on the right here, we've got integration with the Oracle Content Management Documents capability, where I can see a list of my folders, my documents, and access these on the fly. Now, this is my personal area, but it's also an area that people may have shared content with me, or an area that I can share content out to groups of users. So as part of this, if I just go into my user profile area, so all of the navigation and elements you're seeing is personalized based on who I am. So I'm just going to go into my profile, and I'm going to edit my profile here. Now, this just brings back data from Azure or from Facebook or Twitter and displays it in here. And I can report out if the data is incorrect on Azure. But what I can also do is I can sign up to different groups of content, or I can say, hey, I want content from different regional areas. And that's handled by taxonomies on OCE, mapping against the data that I've defined within the app. So here I can define what countries I want to see content from. Alternatively, we can change our language. So this is key. Obviously, the app's global. So if we need right to left support, we have that with Arabic. We can swap to different languages. And when I swap to these different languages, we can then start bringing back content that has been translated in that language direct to the user, because not all the users around the globe will speak English. So we can do that by toggling this setting. So let's go back here. The other thing we've also introduced are sometimes there are apps that cannot be directly integrated. Maybe there's not an API level layer. So we've created a launchpad system that allows you to access those apps either externally, or maybe we've created individual applications purely designed for employee engagement, whether that's People Finder, an ability to connect with my network, suggest ideas to enhance the app, or if I'm new to the company, let's start my onboarding journey. And therefore, I can start going through the system and configuring the app so that it brings back the data that I need today. So let's go into this and just have a quick look at the contribution experience. So we've got two experiences. We've got the ability to manage content directly within this app here, or we can create the content. So you don't need to use OCM. You can create the content directly in here. So if I want to create a gallery or a video, an initiative or an article, I can actually click on one of these areas. So here I'm going in to create an article, and I can then select the create an image and add an image to the area, define where this article is going to sit. And this is all inline, by the way. So if I just edit this data, example title, it's already being updated. So we've got also other components such as rich text editor capabilities here, and it's also responsive. So if you're on a desktop, it'll expand out and support a desktop view on the fly. And we've built a number of tools also on top of OCE to customize the experience so that we can allow editors, more advanced editors, to actually specify a taxonomy and target the content that they want to certain individuals or groups of individuals. Now, if we go back, you'll see that we have the ability to comment and we can like on different assets down here. So if I go into one of these assets, and you'll see this is an example of an article page. But in here, I have the ability to write a comment and post a comment in here. Now, on top of that, what we've also done is, let me go into one of our sections here. So let's go into mentoring at Fishbowl. So this is one of our groups. And as part of one of the groups, I can see all of the assets with regards to mentoring held within here. But what I can also do, as I'm part of this group, I can choose to sign up, or I can be directly made a user of this group, so I receive the content that's being contributed in my social feed. But what I can do is I can also post directly to this group. So if I go in here, I get this kind of Twitter-style view that allows me to add attachments. I can also take a photo straight from my phone, or take a short video of 30 seconds, and I can contribute that and create that as a new post on within the application. Now, we've got two approaches here. We've actually built in machine learning. So our app can automatically detect the sentiment and type of language the user is using, and also with OCM, the type of imagery that they're posting into or trying to post in the system. And we can flag up and notify the user and say, hey, are you really sure you want to post that? And at the same time, if they do agree to post it, we can flag it to a moderator to review that content that's being posted. Alternatively, we can disable the machine learning and have a way that moderators can approve and moderate content before it's contributed within the platform. On top of that, we do have integration built with digital assistants. So I have two menus. I have my navigation menu down the left here, and I have my chatbot integration in the right. So if you have a chatbot, it's possible to bring that content and those skills or services into your chatbot and deliver them through the app to make it more engaging. And then two more things I just want to quickly cover before I finish off is, as part of the contribution process, when new content is made public and is published onto the platform, anyone that's signed up to see this content that's on their social feed can also receive notifications, and they can disable or enable them. And the editors can actually say, I want to send out a notification. This is quite critical. And so as part of that, they'll receive either a web or a native push notification to their device, of which they can click and go directly into the article. And then finally, one of the other social capabilities that we have here is influencers. So if you're familiar with Twitter, if I go into people, I can see a list of my employees here, and I can search for employees, but I also have the ability to follow them. So just like with groups with content, I can follow groups with content or unfollow them. And then on my panel on the side here, you can see, I can see, well, at the moment I'm not following anyone, but I would be able to see a list of the users, and then I could go in here and I could find those users to follow. And that would also bring their activity stream into my stream as a unified feed. Now, I also have the ability to do search. So we're using OCM search here. So if I typed in blog, for example, it brings back all the blogs really quickly, and I can actually interact and go into this article, see information on that. And then I can also go into the grouping or the section, which I've got as Fishbowl News here. And now we're in the section that contains articles, may contain podcasts, videos, and different assets that we've created, or our editors, or even our influencers have created on the platform.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so after basically a lot of, ideas that John has shared around, technical options that are available, I actually want to go back to a real life example and also explaining a bit, that sometimes it's just necessary to bring tech out, and tech has, a certain limitation when it comes to, use cases. And this is a great one here. That's actually something that was brought to me this year from our HR lead in Iceland. So as you probably know, Iceland is home to quite a few volcanoes, quite a few of them where I'm struggling to pronounce the name. But actually, earlier this year, one of those volcanoes erupted. And it's the interesting part is that Localo is quite close to one of our three service stations that we have on Iceland. And my colleague actually explained me so the nature of volcanoes is, they're not erupting and it's over. It comes and goes, and comes and goes, and sometimes it's more, so it becomes quite dangerous. In other instances, it's not the case. So what I actually used then when this whole thing started is Smart Connect, by basically using one of those functionalities that we have in there, a broadcast function, which allows you to kind of send one-way messages to all employees you want to target. And in this case, they ensured that whoever was on a road delivering or close to that particular volcano wasn't informed that there's another eruption coming with the immediate need to report back to headquarters to ensure that they're all safe. And my key message is that here, you can do whatsoever and so many design thinking workshops, requirements gathering, and essentially building the tech around. But at the end, that thing needs to, become an essential part of the daily employee life. And out of that, new use cases and so on will eventually then develop. And with this, where are we right now is basically we are now live in 140 countries, so a few still to go, but we're covering by now almost 60,000 employees. And I think we are quite proud of it, because also for us here as an HR organization, we had to very much work on the mindset on that, at the end of the day, no employee has to use this platform to be successful in their job. So it's not mandatory. So with that, also as an organization, we from time to time have to put on your sales and marketeer hat in order to promote it. Also a big part of the transition. And with this, let's come to the learnings. So that journey is obviously not over. So this is currently learning so far. But what I want to tell you right away is it's important to have a strong partner aboard. Like with Fishbowl, you've seen a lot of ideas coming there, and for us as a big organization, we also have a lot of ideas. We know our employees very well, but then when it comes from a conceptual perspective, building the best tech, it is wise to have a good partner. Secondly, as I said, nobody has to use this app. So you need to have people on the ground who are supporting, who are there to, do the actual implementation, and those are our ambassadors. So we have a full network of colleagues across the globe who do that. And us here as a central team is extremely important that we, empower them and engage them, encourage them to continue in this job. Thirdly, also, like it is in the outside world, influencers are important. And, you have already influencers in the company who are communicating most of the time, your leaders. But here it is an essential part that it became, active by themselves. So it's not so much about, hey, there's my newsletter, but it's more really, becoming part of, social activities, posting things, particularly now in the Corona time, it was extremely important. So employees also see, that whatever they are doing is being, seen and visible. And lastly, we can still build the best tech in the world, but at the end of the day, you need to have your mission statement. For us, it's connect and enable and engage. And with this, it's basically the focus on the employee benefits rather than, go and try to develop the better WhatsApp. So really focus on the key benefits for the employees. And this is really what we want to do and continue. So talking about in the next steps is very much about focusing on further, personalization, something that becomes even more tailored to yourself as an employee, because that is then the essential part of your, personal employee journey with DHL Express. So coming to my end, with this, we aim to make the world a little bit, smarter and connected. And my message for you guys really is that you please, on the next slide, don't forget, make the world, a little bit happier, and have your best day every day. And with this, thanks a lot from my end.